So in this video, I'm going to show you how I use a on-camera speed light for my wedding and event photography. And I'm going to show you some of the different ways that I utilize this. First of all, what speed light? You do not necessarily need an expensive speed light to do these techniques. So at the moment, I use a newer NW561. It's a pretty older model, but this one uses AA batteries. As you can see, it takes 4 AA batteries in there, and it can also tilt and rotate, which is pretty important for what we're about to show you. What I love about this one as well, it also has this diffusion dome, which it comes with as standard in the pack. This one also has a little card that you can pull out and a secondary diffusion that goes in front of it here that flips up like this. And then you have this little bounce guard, which I will show you some examples of how I will utilize that in a second. So why do I use an on-camera speed light for my event and wedding photography? It just gives me the ability to add some light into the scene, especially when working in environments that are dimly lit, which is probably 80 to 90% of the time. So having a speed light, especially in the evening, is very handy and comes in clutch. First way I use a speed light is the bounce method. By simply bouncing the light off of any kind of ceiling or wall. You can do it up that way, or you can bounce it to the side, or in some occasion even behind you like this, like so. So that's the first way that I use the speed light. The second way is by utilizing the little card. So this gives you the ability to not only bounce the light off the white ceiling, but also bounce some of that light back straight into your subject. I also sometimes use this method where I tilt the flash a little bit like this, depending on how high or low I am. The other method is utilizing the diffusion. So again, similar to the bounce method, using diffusion is going to diffuse the light a little, not a lot, but enough to make the light look a lot softer than just using the bare bulb flash. And again, similar, just tilt, move around, depending on your setup and your scenario. Most times, whenever I'm bouncing off of a ceiling, it needs to be a nice low ceiling. If I'm in an environment where the ceiling is pretty high and I can't actually use the bounce method, then I will turn to the tilt method, where I tilt the flash slightly towards the subject. And that most times will do the job. What I've been getting into a little bit lately, and it's been becoming a little bit more popular, is the on-camera, on-axis, straight at your subject. I don't use this all the time, only in certain scenarios. And two of those scenarios is during the dance floor segment of any event or any party. If there's a lot of movements happening, like people dancing and partying, I will sometimes use the on-camera or paparazzi method to freeze some of the action, and that works really nicely, which will give you ultimately that paparazzi effect. But I tend to use it mostly during the evening because it just helps your subject pop off the background and the scene, but also freezes the action. The other method that I use when it comes to the direct flash is the slow shutter speed. What you simply do with this is you have your flash pointed towards your subject at a relatively good kind of setting. So I usually keep it for this flash at about 1/16 to 1/32, sometimes even all the way to 64 power, so that it's not too overpowering, and then compensate with my actual settings. I usually use about a f5.6 to f8, and then I will bring my shutter speed down to about a 15th of a second, and with my ISO also set to 100. What you want to do with this technique is you're simply pointing your camera, you are clicking, and you've locked onto your subject. So you take the shot and then you just flick your camera like this, right? So you literally point yourself and then This technique works really great if you've got LED lights or lights in your frame, because this will create that kind of like swirling effect on your subject. I like this technique because it introduces some element of motion. I don't use it every time. I use it sparingly and dependent on the scenario or situation I'm in. Like I said, this works really nicely during dance floor segments when people are on the dance floor partying and vibing. You'll get some really cool shots. And of course, if you don't want that technique, then you can go to the traditional technique of just doing the paparazzi method, as I call it, and freeze the action instead of create that motion within the frame. And there you have it. Those are the ways that I utilize my on-camera flash for wedding and event photography. If you've got any cool ways of utilizing on-camera flash for any type of photography, let me know in the comments below.